United States President Donald Trump has signed a slew of executive orders. Amongst them is an order to withdraw aid from the World Health Organization. Public health experts have decried this decision after Trump said parts of his pulling the U.S. out was due to the country being ripped off. To discuss the impact of this, I'm now joined by Johanna LeBlanc, who is national security, law and U.S. foreign relations expert. Johanna, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for speaking to us. Now, President Trump has signed an executive order to withdraw the United States from the W.H.O, citing its handling of the COVID-19 pandemic and alleged political influences. What are your initial thoughts on this decision?
Good morning from my side, from Washington, and good afternoon to the viewers in South Africa. And thank you so much for having me on. First and foremost, I think that President Trump's decision to withdraw from the World Health Organization creates significant challenges, but as well as present opportunities for African nations to engage in even greater collaboration in fighting some of these global health crises. We saw that COVID-19 happen roughly 4 years ago, and how it led to the collapse of economies. And here in the United States, it caused the death of thousands and thousands of Americans. So the question is not a matter of if we're going to have another global health crisis, but more so when we're going to have a global health crisis. And this is where the withdrawal from the World Health Organization by this administration becomes rather problematic because obviously the World Health Organization provides data to countries around the world about upcoming potential viruses that could be lurking around the world. And also institutions like the NIH here in the United States rely on the World Health Organization data to create new vaccines and so on.
Now, understandably, third world countries may not have the R&D capacity that the WHO has or that the United States has. So they obviously would not want to withdraw from the WHO. But the United States is in a different sort of position. What are the implications of that withdrawal on the United States itself? Is it a well thought out move?
Well, first and foremost, as you know, Congress plays a role in this, right? Because, yes, the president can sign an executive order, but there is law on the books that says that the president actually needs the authorization of Congress to really pursue with this, right? So I anticipate that there will be litigation as a result of this executive order and many of Mr. Trump's executive orders. And one thing about the United States is that the United States is a democracy. The organizations will fight to ensure that the rule of law is being applied here. But in the context of Congress, as you know, the president is in a very good place because the Republican Party has a majority in both the House and the Senate. So if you have a unified Republican Party within the House and the Senate, the president could very well codify this decision, and it could be the end of it. But however, also keep in mind that Congress has the power of the purse. The president may say one thing, but yet when it comes to funding, that comes through from the Appropriations Committee. But back to your question, some of the biggest challenges around this decision is, first, the United States will be behind in terms of having data and information about possible global health threats that could impact the lives of Americans, right? And then, of course, there is the economic implication. Many individuals rely on contracts from the World Health Organization for their survival. And there are a number of Americans who work for the World Health Organization. And as you know, the U.S. Makes up roughly 15% of the World Health budget. So it is rather problematic. And what you will see is that because of the United States' global standing, you will see that many other countries may follow suit, which will be even more problematic. We saw Australia recently made similar announcement.
Now, financially, the US, you've talked about the approximately 15%, it's 18% actually, of WHO's funding. How might this withdrawal affect the organization's operations and its programs in developing countries? Because it's obviously going to have a run-on effect, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. With a budget like that, there will be significant economic impacts. The World Health Organization will have to lay off some of its staff, but most importantly, I think that it really undermines the work of the World Health Organization. We saw W.H.O. has been responsible for fighting against polio in Africa, and has been also significant in terms of its fight for to eradicate HIV and AIDS, not just across the continent, but all around the world. So there will be significant health consequences to this, and I do hope that Mr. Trump does reconsider, and I think it opens up the door for opportunities for the World Health Organization to lobby Washington, lobby Congress, lobby the executive branch, right? But it also creates opportunities for African nations to perhaps work on one-on-one issues with the United States, not going through the World Health Organization, should this decision were to be final.
All right, that's where we'll leave that conversation. Johanna LeBlanc, appreciate your time. Thank you for walking us through those issues.